is Naomi Ngosi.
Thank you.
And I'm your host today with
Wambo Ngatia.
Yeah, and recently on Thursday, and very many other days also, we had our wonderful bishop teaching us about business, making money, being impactful, which was really amazing and powerful. And so, on Thursday, this Thursday, the most recent one, we did not have an opportunity to ask questions. And today, that is what we're here to do. So if you have any questions with you, you can write them down, or you can just raise your hand, and a mic will come to you, and you'll be able to ask the question. Now, our speaker for today, or our guest for today, he's, wow. He's an amazing one. There are people who inspire, and there are people who motivate. But he is the kind of a person who will shake the living daylights of stupidity out of you. Hey, there is no way you can encounter him and remain the same.
Correct.
And if you remain the same, you're the problem. Something is so wrong. Yeah, and so to get us started, I'll invite my co-host Wamboy so that you can get started on that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you put your hands together and welcome our guest. You can be up standing to appreciate our guest. Thank you very much for creating time to be here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You may have your seats. Wow.
Wow.
Are you excited to be here?
Oh, yes.
We are equally excited. And Bishop, thank you very much for creating time within your busy schedule and just come and be with us to be able to learn. And now that we are speaking about business, we're going to start with the thing we call capital. Because when people talk about business, they think about capital. And I once read one of your books, and you talked about capital, and what we think is capital, it's actually not, because most of us think about money. Would you kindly get us started by talking about what is that capital exactly, so that we get to that understanding?
I think the greatest capital is you as a person. We like to think of success separate from us, or something that is happening to us, so we are achieving, or we are pursuing. Yeah. But success is something we are expressing from who we are. And so the greatest capital that a person can ever generate is the healthy and proper belief in himself and in his capacity and capability to perform. That's capital. I have seen God, every person God met, he told them, you are faith. And he never told them, you are something out of you. It was always something in of you that made you whole. So for me, capital is not something that you accumulate so that you start something. Capital is a discipline that you invest in yourself, or the right priorities that you have put and accumulated in yourself. By the time the money is coming, the discipline is there, because money won't give you discipline, money won't give you language, money won't give you belief, money won't give you network, money, all these are other what I would call skill sets that are separate from money. So by the time the money is coming, it finds already you have put some levels of growth commitment in your own self. So you are the first capital. God is banking on us. Everything, if God can give you the gift of singing, and yet you have not given him anything, he can give you the gift of writing, he can give you the gift of this, and you have not yet done everything else. So that tells you, you are capital as you are. You are a moving potential.
Speaking of human beings as capital, I heard that you also mentioned network. There's one of your very famous quotes that you said. The friends you make now are what your children will regard as connections, like later on in their future. Yeah, so they'll be like, which uncle do you know, Kubwa you know? Yeah, and there's one of the questions that we got, somebody was asking, based on what you told us, that you're 4 people away from where you want to be or from who you want to meet. Can you please expound more on that and also tell us how to choose these 4 people to get you where you want to be at?
As we said, everything we need in our lives, it's scattered or organized. If it's scattered, it takes longer. If it's organized, it takes a shorter time. Now, unfortunately, when we are developing, we put everybody on an equal plate. So that already means you are scattered. We don't know whom to disappoint. You know whom you value by who you can easily disappoint. Okay. If I call you and she calls you, that is already a disappointment question. Yeah. You are about to display your capital. That tells you between the two of us, this one can get you closer. This is one. You believe now you are 3 people away from whoever and whatever you want to be. So that choice you're making every day. If you choose to disappoint her at my expense, you're saying, I am the one, so from me, you will meet 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Now, if you put us all together, it will always be depending on what mood you are in. Now, I learned that from, if you look at your life, who's the person you'd want to meet? Let's say you want to meet, they look far, far, far.
I want to meet a lady called Marie Forhill.
Marie Forhill.
Yes.
Chances are, there's already somebody, if he's not in the country, there's somebody in that country. Or there is somebody in your space or in your field that can enable you to get to that country. It's like the 4 people who carried the man to Jesus. So already, they look like, things look like they're far because everything is on an equal plate. Yeah. But already there is somebody either in that country, and that person in that country becomes the 2, or if they are in the country here, there is somebody who, if you put the right energies in place, you will access that one person, and that one person will connect you to the second person, and the second person will connect you to the third person, and the third person will, it could be their hairdresser, it could be, we look at people in terms of what they do, but people are a bundle of so many, their hairdresser, their mechanic, their shoe shiner, their guard at the gate, all these people can play a role into who you are. And that's why you have to be careful how the 4 are arranged in your life. Every person you want to meet, if you look at it keenly, there is just the right level of commitment that you have to build the relationship with the first, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. But what happens with us here, we are creatures of passion. Yeah. Today, you feel like, I feel today Nico serious, so I think Bish is the person. Tomorrow, I think I'm going through a lot. I think Wambo is the person. Yeah. Kesho kutwa, nimeokoka tena, nimekuwa serious. I think tena Bish is the person. When you're doing this, she may be able to take it because that's her. But I may not be able to take it because that's not me, because I can't afford to do this and this. So that tells me I cannot get a predictable path. So even if I was to introduce you to that person, when you get there, you may be like, it's not all that. And then you do this. So you have not just, you are already satisfied by meeting them. But us, probably there are more things we were doing before we even brought you in the picture there. You are coming to reap from the seeds and disciplines that you are not sown. So I think that's where it starts. It starts with, first of all, in your circle, you have to reflect the people that you want to meet. And so you have to start by being serious about who is sitting in this circle in the first place. How do you get to be part of this circle in the first place? Extremely, yeah. It's lonely at the top. You may want to carry all your friends, but it's lonely at the top. People love the top, but it's lonely at the top because every single day at the top, you are choosing between urgent and important, good and great, rich and richer. You are always making those choices. Value and most valuable. You have moved from good and bad. That is for the bottom. You are now between good and perfect. Good is good enough, but it's not the perfect one. So you're constantly making those choices. And once you understand that, you get comfortable with being comfortable with those who are there. That if I have 1 or 2 hours with my friend, that will take care of my 2 months. I don't need to see them every week, ati tukutane every week. If we just talk 20 minutes in a day, that's enough. And that will keep me going for the period of time until you are able to do that again.
Wow, amazing. So let's talk about spirituality and business, because so many people tend to separate the two. Do business, then probably come to church and all that. And sometimes we think they are all in synchrony, but they are probably not. Is success in business dependent on your spirituality as a person?
Money is spiritual. Because you can't influence, you see, for you to make money, you can't print money. So you have to influence somebody to come spend on you or on what you're doing. Now that invisible membrane that is making people come to spend on you, the power to persuade men's hearts comes from God. Now that is the highest currency of money is influence. So you'll either spend money to get people, or you'll influence people and get money. Now, because you can't print money, you need the government to allow you. So the easiest way is, if you can influence people, you can get money. And so the spirituality of it becomes this. If I have money, I've got to spend on people, so that people exchange their power, position, votes to give me. And so you as a person, why business becomes spiritual? Because business is about spending, and spending is about influence. And not only influence, what influences the behavior of a person is emotion, is information, is presentation. And all these things are intangible values that a person builds. If I show up today and say I sell gold, you'll first of all ask, do I generate the emotion that I am a gold seller? You may say, well, he could probably. Let's see. Second question, have I ever packaged myself as a gold seller? Now, these unseen things, that is where spiritual things come into place. When it comes to we who are called people of faith, that is where everything starts. It starts by how you believe, and then how you begin to execute that belief. You begin to now generate emotions in people that they now desire to want to do business with you. Emotions of trust, emotions of sustainability, emotions of satisfaction. You begin to generate those things. And when people begin to see business, have you ever had people say, it was a pleasure doing business with you? Where are they deriving that pleasure? It's not from the product, it's from the person. It was a pleasure doing business with you. I can buy this water anywhere, but I don't derive that pleasure. So next time, and that's the difference between a customer and a client, because many of us have customers, we don't have clients. A customer is somebody who buys because you are the closest and they have a need for that thing. But a client is somebody who makes regular buyings because they have bought into you. And because they've bought into you, you almost can predict their income in your business per month, that this one spends 2,000 here every month. So you are measured by your clients. You may have a random customer who will come buy 200,000. But that is a random thing. A customer is somebody who has fashioned their financial life with you in mind. And now, that takes spirituality. Because virtues of trust are spiritual. Virtues of vision are spiritual. Virtues of honesty, they come out of your spirituality. Virtues of confidence, they come out of your spirituality. Virtues of excellence, they come out of your spirituality. Virtues of genuineness, they come out of your spirituality. So if that spiritual aspect is not in place, your business will suffer more. Because what watasema, nani aliniuzia kitu fake. So what did they do? They broke your trust. What is trust? You didn't use trust at the shop. Spirituality. Yeah.
So basically everything, the basis of everything is spirituality.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So far, anyone with a burning question before we continue? If you've written them down and you folded them, you'll just, I don't know, someone can come and collect them, can just give them out if you don't want to speak on the mic. Smasher can help us with that, yeah? Thank you. And also, he has the mic also, so yeah, can do that. Okay, so as they're doing that, moving along, stewardship. How do you know, the question was, how do you know that I have been a good steward? And also, like, how to also be a good steward. And to be a good steward, does it say you have a lot of money, or even without money, you can still be a good steward?
How do you know you have been a good steward? You'll be made faithful over much.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. If nobody is trusting you with much, you have not passed the level of stewardship, the first one.
Yeah.
If even what you have is being taken away from you, it is a sign you are not passing or advancing your levels of stewardship. How does one become a faithful steward? One, faithfulness. And you see, faithfulness is seriousness in absence. Many people are not serious. Most of us need to be supervised to be serious. We actually hate, we love money, we hate work.
Oh, yeah.
If we gave you money and no work, you'd take it.
Yeah.
And so it is just an unhappy event that has given you to be able to, the only way you can make money is through work. But should we give you money and tell you not to work, you'll be so glad that everything has been answered. And so we are not serious in absence. It's as if we need to constantly be supervised. And it gets to a place, it's like it is now you who is living, not them who is living. And I think what has cost us as this new order of faith that is emerging is the connection between faith without works is dead. And the same way work without faith is also dead. So on one side, some of us are just on the faith, on the other side, others are just on the work. And both is dead. We live with a lot of motivational speakers. And so for you to wake up in the morning, there is somebody with a sound bite. Today is a good day. Wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am going to win. Blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of speaking that is just trying to make people to just wake up. Yeah? Okay. Going to bed. Before you go to bed, remind yourself of who you are and blah, blah, blah. It's as if we leak who we are. We leak what I teach you in the morning, by tomorrow afternoon, it's as if it has leaked. Tomorrow is a new day. It's as if now, because now you have abundance, you can Google. And that's why when you tell somebody, come, they feel, I can Google, I can access what information without that. What helped us is that we had no access to that. Kina Pasi here and the others will tell you. We would first of all have to choose, if we wanted to buy a book, we would have to walk for 3 weeks to buy that book. We grew out of the think big books very fast. So we had to now look for books that time they were worth like 4,000. Now to get 4,000 would mean that you either you have to change your diet, change your this, change your this, change your this. And we would have to walk. If you are going for a mission from Nairobi to somewhere like Ngara, you walk. Then we walk back to my parents' place. Then you walk back to City Stadium. Then you walk. And all this you are doing to get a book that you shall read. Not put it on your status. There was no status. That you shall read. And then when you read it, again, you discover this book has quoted another book. Now that book is 6,000.
Hey.
You see, with a lot of motivation is A is attitude, B is belief, C is confidence, D is diligence. Then that book has quoted another book.
Yeah.
You start again. I remember we bought like a collection of 6 books because the first book quoted another book and quoted another book and quoted another book. By the time you come, that author, we have his set of things.
Yeah.
But now, it's as if reading ni kitu unadundo weke kwa status. It's something that we are doing. We don't believe that it can shape who we are. So how will you be a good steward if you have not even been a steward with your own mind? How will you make yourself a multiplier? Okay? Because that just shows you can't multiply beyond your skill. And so how will you multiply? And so everybody feels like, I have nothing. But who had something? Who had something? Somebody with nothing had to start turning nothing into something.
Wow. Maybe to just top up on that, we are living in a very difficult time. I mean, inflation in the country, and probably somebody is asking, how can I make the most out of the minimum resources I have? Yes, you've said capital is you know, but I have this in my hands, you know, like Moses was asked, what do you have in your hands? And someone is like, this is what I have in my hands. And they are asking, how can I make the most? How can I make, you know, get to my goal wherever I want to get to?
You know why money will always stress you? Because of ego.
Mm-hmm.
Ego. What is most important? You'll discover it's very little. But because you have attached yourself to so many things to determine your identity. So when, this is not the first time we are hearing inflation in this country. There was a time fuel was like 76 shillings. I still saw people with cars. Then it got to 83. People said we are dying. Then it got to 92. Then people said we are dying. Then it got to 103. People said we are dying. Then it got to 110. We said that's too expensive. Then it got to 116. But you'll be surprised that, you see, the danger with the ego is that it attaches you to things that you can live without. I try to be very, very satisfied with very simple things so that when life is reduced to its simplest forms, I don't feel like I'm losing. And now, it looks like that is not an economic answer, but that's the start of an economic answer. The motivation that people have, let me go to work, and the inflation keeps going higher and higher. Soon, you'll be working for bills and bills and bills. I've been auctioned. And so when somebody comes to me and tells me they're auctioning me, I tell them, take it. They are freeing you. What came first? The hen or the egg?
The hen came first.
So the car came after. The house came after.
Correct.
The phone came after. So what we call inflation is because now we have taken the things that came after and made it come in front, and then now we are spending our lives pushing it. Why? Because we are afraid if people know this has happened and that has happened. So the shame of people knowing that this has happened. So you are living for people who don't even care. And you're trying to impress people who don't even care. And when you win, they will not care. It's not like you doing well makes them care. They don't care. Hello? Two, with minimal resources, and this is why a community becomes very, very important. Many of us take for granted the community until they need the community. So when an inflation comes, it comes to expose the quality of your community. It comes to show where you have been spending your money. One time we were talking to one of my guys, and I told them, do you know why you're in this problem? You eat alone. You celebrate alone. The days you have, we are too poor for you. While when you were poor, we were too good. When you became rich, we were too poor for you. We drink water, we drink tea. Now you want to take whiskey. You want to go at unasema, you work 6 days, you need a holiday. But when we were with you, we worked 6 months denying ourselves holidays. Yeah. It's not like those places imejengwa jana. We knew they've been there. Yeah. When we were doing something for you, we had a choice of going for holiday. Yeah. But we opted in this season, until the community can afford the holiday, nobody's going for holiday. It cannot be, you can go for holiday. And I'm not saying this is how, but that's how we think. Now, when the community begins to prosper, you now begin to say, now when we start holidaying, we'll not be going as you, me. You'll find we'll be saying we've taken the hotel or we've taken 12 rooms. At that time, nobody is like, me, ningekam, lakini, ninge nini. Yeah? So, when we start making some money, the ego starts, it is birthed there. So what begins to happen? My space, my this. We are always perturbed here with Pastor Muniu, you know. Yeah. We see people, before they had cars, we would drop them, drive all over. When now it's their time, they begin to feel like people keep me. They begin, what they received, now when it's time for them to serve it to others, or they serve it until people say, I would rather Uber or I would rather do this. But why should you spend money in a company? That Uber is a company. That is money leaving our community. Yeah. Come on. That, it looks cheap. It looks like 500. But if you put it on the basket, it could probably have paid for this electricity. But because amongst ourselves, the more we want to prosper, to separate. We don't want to prosper, to integrate. So eventually, when these things begin to happen, you begin to find that you are becoming overwhelmed because on your seasons of this. So we stay here sometimes and we look and wonder, guys, you want to tell us now people have homes, people have things. And there was a time we are the ones who had, tunabakingi hapa. And those who will watch this later, and we look at ourselves and say, wow, really? Yeah. Wow. So now, watu wako na vitu na tunawaweka. But now we have come to learn and discover, this is life. Yeah. This is life. Yeah. People have left here running, the next thing wanapiga pasi, gari me break down mahali fulani. Tunasema, please, I hope that guy is an angel. Let it not break and call us, because you cannot be calling us when it's broken. And now, correct. That is why things like inflation begins to impact on you. Because if we integrated ourselves, we would shield ourselves. Because at some places, you will not need to spend money. You will be reaping from a relationship that you had already serviced over time. Yeah. So the reason why difficult times like these are coming, let me tell you, there is no magic to beating an inflation. Yeah. Is collapse your ego, integrate amongst others. Because what you'll spend money on, I can give you for free. So I'm sparing you your money. But if you're spending money on everything, and I'll say this, and I know, as we go to the next question, if your first option for capital is a bank, you are poor. If your first option for capital is an app, you are poor. Hata ukiangusha simu. The app people have called. The app people. If your first option is a bank for capital, you are poor. Because that tells you you have not touched a life significantly for you to know who to reach when you need. I was looking at my life and the things I need to do, and I was like, wow. I literally, I'm like, think I just owe somebody 10,000, and it's not that I owe them. I took it for somebody else. Yeah. With all the problems I have in my life, how are we able to do that? So, but sisi tuna believe, wacha niekedo kwa zako, acha niekedo kwa bank, acha niekedo kwa chama. But if your first option for capital is a bank, you are poor.
I think, Bishop, that's where we get a little bit confused, because we go like, my first option will not be a bank, will not be the apps. And also, I don't need the money needs me. But now I need to get this 10,000 to sort her.
Yeah. To pay my rent,
I think, I think maybe, I don't know, how can we be responsible financially, pay your rent, give to Malachi, eat, everything else.
How am I doing it?
Yeah, like how do we get to that place?
How am I
doing
it?
Thing? Is it
it's
a
mindset
management thing?
Once you want to be richer than your brother, you are motivated by your bills and your needs, not a vision. Mm-hmm. That's why you'll operate from a scarcity mentality. It looks hard, but the easiest part starts by asking yourself, have I made an investment enough? Because what I am giving you as a debt could be a reward if we are in the same vision. Okay. Eh? If we're in the same vision, it should not be a debt, it should be a reward. If we're in the same vision, it should be, hey, I need like A, B, C, D for 5, 3, 3. And so once it makes sense to me, like I don't lend money to my friends, I give it. No friend of mine has my debts, and neither do I have their debts. I don't lend money to any. I don't do merry-go-round. Atichukue 20K unirudishe kani 23K. Yeah. I don't do those things. If I am in your life, I am in your life with the bill and without the bill. It can't be when you are with the bill, I want interest. But you cannot be in this relationship that you do the accruing of the bill, I do the laboring. You do the meandering, I do the focusing. You do the jumping, and that's why we are calling it BSL, because we have to streamline at what point do we come in. It cannot be a problem brought us in, and then now you take the assumption, you get into problems, I do the payouts. We have to restructure how we are coming together. Hello? Yeah. I think that's like I have some boys at home. I can't back. So somebody has to back to inform us, and somebody has to look for the food. So when I start doing the backing, something is wrong. Something yeah. Wrong. So the thing is this: we have made money our individual pursuit and venture, and that is why it is eluding us, because we feel like if we pursue it with a communal mindset, it will slow me down. Unaona? You feel like if you expose me to your networks, I may not represent you well. Ama neza kakufanya waache kukuconsider highly. So you will never put my name on the table, because you will neza come ni kwa outshine. If you put my company on the table, I will make money and not nini. So you are trying to say, I would rather the tender goes to a stranger. I would rather trust strangers, because I can't trust my community. And so that's why you'll always have to find, you need 200,000. The first place you have to go is a bank. Yeah. And I can tell you free of charge, seated here, somebody can give you 200,000 if it is worth it.
Wow.
Let me not say if it is worth it. If you are worth it. Everybody needs 200,000, yeah? And that's why for me, and like in Apasia, we don't labor so much at Ina. I'm trying to get, we have never called a preacher to come make you give more. Yeah. Because what do I need it for? If I need 30,000, I'll tell you. You don't give me 30. I have my circle.
Right.
I'll tell them, they'll split it into 5. Then they'll break it down into 4. Then they'll break it down because it's in the community. And you will not sit here to hear, oh, jana, kwani ubisha kwangi amejipanga. Because kesho, it's my turn. And me, I move big.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Me, I
But
move
now,
big.
how can one get started? I mean, having known it's a mindset thing, and then you realize, oh, I have this. How can one get started and actually get to that point where you're not insecure, as you're saying, insecure about introducing your company and not mine, you know, you will outshine me and all that. How do I get to a mindset whereby I am open, I can introduce my, you know, my colleague, I can introduce anybody and not having that insecurity?
Stop wanting to be the star.
Mm-hmm.
There's one time you told us also we stop having attachment to things. Things are just things.
Things are just
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. Stop wanting. That's also important. You have to start where you are. You have to start with me. You have to start with, hey, I have a pen here. Who needs a pen to sign a check? You have to start offering yourself.
Okay.
Okay? You cannot be expecting at hey, basi itanisaidia. You have to start offering and availing yourself. Yeah? You have to start allowing people to dream in your space and give them the room. When somebody says, by the way, like I need tires. You have to say, hey, na vile matires imeenda juu. That's why, well, I have to. There's this 2,000 I was keeping for my shoe.
Yeah.
It starts there. I cannot tell you how many times I have sabotaged Pastor Muniu's dreams for my selfish needs. I cannot tell you how many times I remember one time when Mom was still alive. We were somewhere in Machakos, and we were doing some transaction, nanini. I called Gaba here. He was doing farming in Thika. I told him, hey, niaje uko wapi? It's 3 p.m. because I need 75,000. He told me, niko kwa shamba, I have, but wife ako home. Nikamwambia, you have to go and get it now. Hatukuanza na 75,000. Ilianza ni namba 3 nitalipa.
30 bob.
Ilianza namba 3 twende.
Yeah.
Hii sijui tumepanda Uber till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 112 na 50 cents, 112 na 50 cents, 112 na 50. I'm the generous one, dalipa hiyo 113. So hizo mazumni. You can't live like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't live like that. You can't work out like that. You have to start by being the one. You start first by offering. Okay. So we need tires. Okay, we need tires. So which one is better? Should your car burst a tire? And me, if your car bursts a tire, it's called an accident. Yeah. If you break a shoe, it's called an incident. So an incident has occurred.
Yeah.
But that's how we are. It starts by offering. Yeah. And now that builds that intellectual, financial chemistry. Now, but every one of us akona kakev kake. Ameka picha. You know, everybody says on a rainy day. But it's raining now.
Correct.
Whose rainy day? Ati nimeka for a rainy day. Yeah. Na hii nimeka for a rainy day. Now, what if it's raining now? What if it's my rainy day? Yeah. So whose rainy day are you saving for? And that's why most marriages are struggling, because the wife has a picture of her rainy day, the husband has a picture of his rainy day. So yeah, rainy day, now they don't rain on the same day. Huyu ako Nairobi, huyu ako Kisii. So Kisii kunanyesha daily. Huyu ako Kasikeu, yeye ameweka for a rainy day, rainy day, rainy day. Mwanaume anashikwa hapa hivi na stroke migraine. Hiyo rainy day yako ni hospitali. You go give a doctor. So what was that? That was not a rainy day. Yeah. So I think that's why the ego just must die. It's a lot of pressure, but the ego just must die. Yeah. So that people can come and ventilate in your space, and all you can do, what James used to say, things are tight, yet tight, it's 5,000. And yet you have 3. Yeah. But when I say 3, kuna nguo nimeleka deposit. So hiyo nguo nataka kuivaa siku ya nini. Always separate yourself from hiyo nguo ikae 1 week, because this person here needs it. I always look at the Good Samaritan and ask myself, there was somewhere he was going. But he came, picked this person. Then he said, in case any extra thing, now that's where we have a problem. Should he need anything extra, I will come back and pay it. He didn't say he will tell you his relatives. He made it his personal mission to make that person better. So it has to start as we are, as you are, it has to start. Now, this is where the administration comes in. We cannot start with money. We cannot start with money. We start with spirituality, honesty, loyalty, belonging. Who else trusts you apart from you? You are stuck because the only people that trust you don't have the kind of money problems that you have. Who else trusts you apart from you? Yeah. Who else can bring you into their space? And so that's where it starts. It starts with, hey, so I have to. So ukitoka church ukisema hey, wadi imekuwa poa, umeishia. You think you're building trust, but I hope you have inflated above the inflation. Because your rainy day, when your rainy day comes, I hope you have an umbrella, a drainage, you have all these things. Because alafu unajua hapo ndo watu sema ile kanisa haisaidiangi watu. Na wewe ushasaidia kanisa lini?
The rainy day itakuramba. So question? There's somebody needs a mic there.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. So I have really two burning questions. The first one is you've mentioned that money is a mindset. So I believe there is a difference between wanting more money and being worth more money. So in that line, should people really pray for money? In that prayer, like at what point should prayer be? Is prayer from a point of affirmation, or is it from a point of need? Because if it is from a point of need, that means that if you need something, that means subconsciously, somehow, that you believe that you don't deserve it. If it's from a point of need, so should you actually pray for money? And okay, should you pray for money, or should you start with the mindset, recalibrating your mind into a point of like deserving more money? Secondly, the fear of money. So I believe that big figures actually scare a lot of people. Once I have a friend who has a watch of around 5.4 million. That's will be like, oh, mtu akisikia 120 million, you're like, oh. So money really scares people. So, and I believe this sometime you mentioned back that if you fear something, fear comes from unfamiliarity. So if you're unfamiliar with something, you fear it. So if you're unfamiliar with money, you tend to fear it a lot. So how do you combat the fear of money? Probably a tip that I use is I took a check of Jamii Bora Bank. I wrote myself a check for 120 million. I carry it every single day in my wallet to combat that fear of big figures. Just to combat it. Because if I told you... So I carry it everywhere. I have it in my wallet. So I carry it everywhere so that I can combat that fear. Because sometimes fear, however you go, like fear will always be with you. So how do you combat the fear of money? And should you pray for money? And from at what point should prayer be? Is it from a point of need or from a point of affirmation?
Wow, good question. I didn't see Jesus praying for money, so and the many times I pray for money, it's as if God is kiangi. You see, money follows principles and practices. Now, if you've not understood, if you are not applying a principle in your practice of money, because the 1,000 you had today could have bought you 1,000 you need tomorrow, based on where you took it. The 1,000 you have today can buy you that. It's the 1,000 you need tomorrow is in the 1,000 you have today, based on the where you took it. You see rich people wanakuaga wanaka, hey, these guys wako hapo. They are doing. They are spending amongst the rich with the rich. They are making their money and spending their money amongst people who are making money. Si ati, oh, by the way nimekuwa nikipitia a lot, ati kama nikubaie kamoja. Once unapitia a lot, they need to first of all know why. Yeah. We have made money a therapy tool, but money is not for therapy. Ati brother yangu anavuta bangi, ameshinda maadhe, sibishi mtafutie kazi. Work is not therapy. Kama ameshinda maadhe, atashindwa na kazi. Kama ni aje. So we try to use money therapeutically, and that's why it's not working. Niko na stress, umechukua kibao. That shopkeeper tomorrow will not say, sai stress imeisha, rudi uichukue. Ama inakuanga aje. Once where you are spending your money is determining the days it will take for it to come back to you. There are people who are not worth spending on. They take longer. And if you want to, try to. You try taking care of your cousins. Mwenye ameshinda aunti yako. You know why? Mamake amemwacha. Yeah? We want to use money therapeutically. Oh, I'm stressed. I need to do something for money. Money will not feel like that because today you are stressed. I understand you are careless. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
Money is hard. It's called a master. So it doesn't care how you are feeling emotionally. Ati siku nilikuwa nimejam, nikachoma 50K. You place ulichomea, how long does it take? It does not have empathetic connection to you.
Yeah.
I lost my mom, nikakasirika. Nikaingia pale Egesa, nikachafua meza. Money will still say nguo ya madhe, sanduku, na rent, na nini, na school fees. Money will not come and say that, oh, because you are going through a hard time, let me go easy on you. You think that money is empathetic and so you use it therapeutically. Utaumia. It follows a principle and a practice. My way of making money is spending it on worthy people. I make money by spending it. So I look for worthy people, worthy causes. So instead of it lying in the bank, I look for somebody who is doing something with a little more money. They can do it faster, get money faster, and it's not a debt. They may remember me and come back. So now is when we are reaping from people that I spent on, and I'm one person, from people that you spent on. So every person who comes around me is wondering, but why? What if akikubetray? What if akikufanyia nini? What if akikufanyia nini? Naambia, but the Bible says, cast your bread upon many waters. Huyo akinibetray, ule ananiremember. Ama ni aje. And there is no, the worst decisions I've made about money are the people nilisikilia huruma. It's not the estate. The people I felt that they are at woi, guy, woi, haka kataisha, woi. And I said, wacha nikakasaidie. Huyo. Ndio alitumiza more because, and now for me, I have no empathy. Atujakula siku tano, it is a sign you are spending your money on people who are making you hungrier. It's just a sign. As I said, every single day you chose between value and more value. Every day you're making a choice.
Yes.
Every day you're making a choice. Come on. Yeah. And every day it means the people you have made as a priority choice in your life have dried your source of money. So me, I make money by spending it. I don't spend it at, oh, sijui nimeona mtu pale tao na wheelchair, acha nimpe. Oh, sijui nimeona sijui nini. I try spending it on people who are making it, they are working on something and they are working on this. I do it there. You take this one to school. For 5 years, itakanimi ndo nasumbuka. Out of the 200 who we are taking to school. I don't need 200 to remember. 10 only. We'll pay for the 200 forgetful ones. Ama ni aje? Before ndo ilikuwa inanishtua. Hey, remember, kumbuka leo nimekula sukuma. Siku hizi sahau, kumbuka, fanya nini. Now that's just on this side. Pastors who have a call of God upon their life and they can do something, I spend on them. Business people who are trying to chase and nini wamekwama, I spend on them. Somebody who is nini, I spend on them. Now, it has now been close to 6 years since Gaba sent me that 75,000. See, I need to me every month. But if ningekuwa namwambia Gaba, unajua hii mwezi imekuwa mbaya sana, unajua mwezi nimekuwa nikipitia nini. Wala alikuja wakilia, wanalia mpaka saa hii. Whether aliambia bibi yake, hakumwambia, shauri yake. Kama watarudi kupigana usiku, shauri yao. So that's the first thing. We are too empathetic, and that's why we are wasting a lot of money. We are building a lot of therapy industries. That's why bars and restaurants are booming, because all those are therapy. Those are people, hawezi sema ati tumeenda pale ku network tuongee biz, tumeenda pale kuongea mashida za maisha na vile serikali imetufinya. That's how I do it. For me, on the other side, anything you can do to fight fear. The worst thing, the source of fear is shame. So anything you can do to fight fear. You see, when you do a shameful thing, you have also conquered the fearful thing. You see, ukiandika 120 million, tumesikia tukicheka. But for you, anything you can do to conquer fear, if it's walk naked, roll on the floor, sit on a bucket of cold water, eat without chewing, whatever you can do to fight fear, I bind the spirit of fear. Because fear is not an asset. It's what I was calling in the morning, not a refugee. It's a squatter. It just sits on your land, eats your emotions, eats your tomorrow. You have to be in the circle. If this circle then generate 90% of your economy, then you have to make sure this circle is growing. Yeah. And growing, siwe kutokea, is growing is what can I do to make this circle stronger? Because it is making things work for you. Yes. Hello? So whether in the process will you get hurt, of course. Will you get disappointed, of course. Will you get frustrated, of course. But if you're saying, I don't want to be frustrated, that's why nimejiweka huko. Utakuwa unalia peke yako. Yeah. Money has, and so I learned that if I can make somebody work and they work and it works, they can always come back and celebrate. But if I say that, let me keep it. So if I take 200,000, divide it into 5, I keep 40. I give the other 14 to 4 people, they get speed. 30 days from now, the one I gave 40 has 60. The one I gave 40 lost, he didn't win. Another one I gave 40 had 200. Another one I gave 40 has 40. So in that month, we have all moved.
Yeah. Awesome. Another question? Yeah, you can clap, please. Boldly.
Bind the spirit of fear.
You're binding what? The spirit of, you're binding the spirit of fear.
Any other question?
And maybe as we receive the next question from our amazing audience, there's something I had Oprah say. I really look up to her. It's someone who has succeeded in the media industry. And she once said one thing, that she used service. She used to serve, even in the TV station she used to work for before she started her show. And it's general, even in our workplaces, wherever we are working. How can we actually turn it into service and not just work? Yeah.
When you do what you're trained for is work. Mm-hmm. When you do what you're not required to do is service. Mm-hmm. If you cook the tea and you're not paid to cook the tea is service. Whichever the case. jionyeshe ukiserve. You see, when you do it, that's how we will see. By the way, you're the one who made the tea today. Why? Where is Nani? Say, no. You're the one who is serving the tea today. Yes, why? But you see, if you sit like we have sat down, our journey in life was we used to wash the church. We would come to sweep the church on Mondays, like today. Tomorrow, we would walk to church to come and sweep the church. Pray in the morning, then sweep it. Yeah. On Wednesday, we would come to, there was prayers on Monday, and Bible study on Wednesday. So we would come on Wednesday to wash the church, arrange the chairs, wipe the chairs. We were not ushers. You see, we walk with this title. I'm in the choir. I'm in the band. Yeah. I'm in the ushering. We're not ushers. Gabas umefanya hiyo. Umefyeka nyasi, umefanya nini. Out of that is now when people began, and who are these people? And what do they, people began to see, who are these people? Why do they do what they're doing? Yeah. But if you're only doing what you're required, ati mimi niko kwa choir, mkisha kuja hapa kwaya mwe umedondosa, umeenda pale, umekula, umeenda kwa choo, umeishia. You have no other attachment to the house. Then probably your blesser could be probably in the protocol. But they are doing dishes.
Yeah.
When you do what you are not trained for, because now you are living the call of duty. Now that is service. Now that is service. When you come and say, hey, by the way, our Sunday school children, like for me, I measure the genuineness of a person by how they respond to children. The Sunday school ministry is the most important ministry in any church. But do you know why people don't like it? Children are difficult.
Yeah. Messy.
They are not your children. You have to change your tone. You have to go outside. You have to go and play like a cat. So you feel like they're sticky and messy. Yeah? And so you feel like, our toy. And then they don't look like they can promote you.
Or they even notice.
Or notice, because you have kids, let's concentrate, kids. Yeah. So you don't feel like they are the most important ministry. Actually, if you want to know you have a heart for serving God, go to the children's ministry. Hapo tatumbia, accept, go teach a child to sing it. You'll discover that you don't want things that have no glory.
Yeah.
And then, by the time tunakuja kukuona, umekuwa ukitrainiwa mtoi for 4 years. After that, those who do the cleaning, the cooking, and the washing, that's the second most important. If there is no single time you have prioritized, baka tinakuanga tangazo. It should be, wase tumekam too many, the church is small. Those who are supposed to wash it. But those are not the publicly celebrated ministries. Yeah? Everybody wants to be on a place where it is noticeable. So you'll discover that you start with the watchman, the what nini. And because you already feel tired, mimi nimechoka. So I just want to do what I'm paid for and go and sleep. Yeah. But it is just that extra. I remember because we used to come and to wash the church, the cooks of the church began to give us the remaining food for the children. Walikuwa napika, hiyo githeri imebaki wanatuambia, kuna hii food imebaki kwa sufuria, tunai-scrape. Tunaisosi. After that tukaanza kusikia, by the way, tuwachukulie nengi soda. Kukuja kusema, soda ya watu wanaosha. We didn't start like that. Tuwachukulie nengi soda. Wakaanza kusema, tuwachukulie nengi soda na mkate. And back then, Deliverance Church, it was not the plastic chairs. It was the benches. Wooden. So you'd have to pull them back, wash this space, pull them forward, and then tukaanza kuambiwa vile mnazivuruta zinaachana. So haikuwa ati tunaangalia hivi. Sasa ikakuwa ni kubeba.
Carefully.
Namna soda.
Na ni mchana, we got there probably by 6:30, prayed by 8, and then we started washing the church. After that, tukaanza kuambiwa, because sound then, before imauntiwe, Now it had to be watu wa kuibeba iende juu. Kakua, oh, and never there is a service, they will never have to bother whether kuna atua sound. At that time, probably I come from a middle class family. Most of the people were surprised where all of us were coming to church. None of us were tenants. We were living in our own houses. Yeah. When they came to see where we used to stay, they were like, hey, mse, this is your dad's place. Yeah, this is where we stay. And, but tukakuwa sasa sisi ndio ubeba vyombo tunaziweka. Every department in that church we have served in. Ikakuwa, there are some missionaries who are coming to preach, and so they need people to walk them around the estate, go with them for what? Ni sisi tu. It was until it became tukaanza kuitwa church boys. Nanyima boys, what else do you do? Because it was like, this doesn't look like anything. Now for me, if I walk anywhere, people call me bishop. But it didn't start
From that.
yes, we could preach, but what we did, we have washed cars.
Yeah.
We have moved houses for people. We have gone to wash houses. Now, in the end, it has now come to make us who we are. So that's service. That's what service looks like. Service is not like, hey, mdosi yuko, wacha nichukue chai nimpeleke. That's not service. That is show.
Yeah.
Is when you go to the office tomorrow and decide, acha nibebe mandazi, I'll give the 2 guards at the gate. And then I'll give them soda.
Yeah.
Ama ndakuwa napika chai home, na vikombe 2 na wapelekea guards, na waeke hapo. Lunch yangu ndapika 4 plates, nipatie the secretary, the nini. I am earning already 20. If I'm feeling it is hard and I am earning higher than them, so how are they able to survive? Yeah. So I'll be saying, let's make extra food, I'll be giving to the guard at the gate. That's service. Na jota mserve na plastic. Na kinivunja my favorite plates. But that's now service.
And not taking a picture,
Ati hashtag manenos. Here is me looking after the hungry and the needy. That's service. That's where life is. Yeah. That's now what service looks like. That's now where service looks like. Yeah.
Question anyone else in the audience?
There's
There's a hand up.
is this watch working? This one. What time? It?
You found someone?
So we finish in the next 20?
Okay. Okay, so
Hallelujah.
nobody. So most of us are able to survive if people outside reject you. They reject your ideas and stuff like that. But we crumble and really fail when it's family and when it's somebody you love. So how do you overcome that rejection if it's from a loved one or from your family?
Expand the circle of the word family.
Okay.
My brothers don't worship here.
Yeah.
But Pastor Mni is more of my brother than my brother.
Yeah.
My sisters.
Yeah.
You know, I have a family. I have uncles, aunties, cousins. Munakuwaga na nini zingine? Everything you call family.
Baba mdogo, baba
Sister. You people don't even know we have family. I have brothers. I have sisters.
Yeah.
I have aunties. But who is my sister? This is family.
Yeah.
So the reason why it hurts, it's because you have limited your definition of family to blood
Yes.
or to bond, husband or wife. But you can expand your definition. Gaba is brother. I think we talk with Gaba more than I talk with my natural, biological brother or sisters. Susan here, Judy, we are ever engaging them more than I engage my biological sisters. So when you tell me family, I don't know what you, for me, that's family, for me, yeah. There are times I've called Pastor Sila, I want somebody to do banking for me at their bank. I have also other relatives that work at COP, but I would not dare do such a stupid thing. Hey, akwambia ungeniambia jana usiku saa 5 ningekuwa nimejipanga. So I've called him severally, nikamwambia we do this. And so you are our and that's why many of you will struggle, because what you call family is blood.
Yeah.
And sometimes they are the weakest bond in your life.
Yeah, it's so true. It's very true.
Gaba is not trying to sell me to slavery. We are now in court. Gaba is accused. Muni is accused. My brother is not. Gaba is here. There is no single stone here you'll hear my brother say, I have given for that. When I am sick, my family gets to hear my family telling my family, alienda hosi ata amelala. There's no single day my family has driven me to hospital. Yeah. Ago is my family. No is my family. So when you talk of family, this here is more family than what I have called family. Beth here is family. I'm a Beth, you Beth Odendo, aka Cambodia, aka. This is family.
Yeah.
Family.
This is family.
Hashtag farm.
The farm. Now, she's more farm than my family. Yeah. So I can't say family. So when you say family, for me, it is not anything called Odendo is family, and you are not family. Ngosi is family. Bazenga hapa. Ngosi here. There are days we have Dimonapo as Zach is family. So sisi family. See your Indio. Me, this is family.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we are limited because you think that church, my church family. You actually say my church family, and then my brother and sister. The people who tell me blood is thicker than water, then I ask them, what has blood done for you? I have done more for you than blood.
How thick is thick?
Water has done more than blood. I have done more for Gaba. Gaba has brothers, sisters, father. Gaba of not father. But I have done more for Gaba than blood. So us at Twezi Seba, blood is thicker. Because for us, water has done more than blood. So now, we have done more. Muni has done more for me than my blood. So I cannot say that blood is family. Family is family. And so family is the one who is ready to prioritize, set their personal goals aside. I was going to do. How many people can stop at the last minute for you? That's family.
Yeah.
For you, I was going to do this, but this came up. So, and you tell them, and they can stop what they wanted to do, and then they do what they prioritize you first. For me, that's family. Yeah. So for me, that becomes more of family than what we come to call family. I have done more for Coco. Coco has for sisters in the States, Gambia, Wapis, Manini. But you have done more for her than. But it's easier for her to see this is not family.
Yeah.
This is an attachment, a church, a what. But we have done more for her than family. I'm anadanganya. I'm anadanganya. Some of you have uncles, aunties who have not even one day come to anything about you.
Yeah.
And we told them about it.
And you told them,
They didn't bother.
The latest CV. When you party CV yako, when you drop your CV, thank you guys, you can sit down. When you drop your CV yako, I'll see what to do. Nipigie Friday next week. Thank you, Zach. Sit down, Zach. So yeah, and then up to date, they've never bought in your shop. They've never brought a customer to your shop. They have never told anybody to come to your shop. They even actually had mbigi kwa ofisi na mbigi pia kwako. Ati yo, amepromote you. Ajaisema ati, by the way, na kuorganizia one of my auntie's sons or daughters wakuje. But we are here.
Yeah, you've done that for us.
So for me, so what is family? Yeah. My biological children are in a public school, while I've put other people's children in
Private schools.
in, let me not say private, in schools.
In group of schools. Group of schools.
Yeah. So and they are still my children, and they are still. So what are children? Taji is my child. Eri is my child. Theo is my child. Arthur is my child. He doesn't need to be analala kwangu ndakwe mtoto wangu. We always tell ourselves, mimi mkiwaiona my children wamepotea, msiniambie katoto ka bishop kamepotea. Nishikie, mshike, umchune, fanya everything as a parent. So we want our children to, even now, there are things we are training because we know watoto wataenda mahali waanze kudanganywa na wasichana. So we want to beat them when they are 12, beat them when they are 22. Yani wanakuwaga wakijua all your life. Hakuna kitu unaweza nifanyia. So we are developing skills. Si atafika 20, ablo hivi kiss, akwenda base, aseme dad unaniambia nini? Dad aseme hii tuliprepare for 2024. Hakuna vita ya mshipi, ni vita ya wanaume. So I'm not preparing those skills for me. Mrs. Itaj, I don't have enemies ati ngumi ndaipiga mtu. Ni for Theo. Ile siku atasema, what did you say? Na Munio ametravel. Na I said nothing. Now you can fight. You know us, we don't fight. But you know in this family. So yeye mwenyewe anagrowing akijua. Wewe ujibishana na baba zenyu? Here we don't try. Jabali is my child. Siku moja unajua pali kuna mwanaume. Kuna testosterone. So ndio imsaidie in the years to come. Staki ati anipige ngumi, ati Pastor Sila kwa wapi, ati alipigwa. Naambia alifanywa hiyo tu siku. So we are not preparing. Kwani mimi naenda kupigana na nani? Hakuna mtu na prepare ati kumnyang'anya shamba. Yeah. Ni sisi. So Kiki is my child. Amy is my child. That's family still. Yeah. So we have to break out of. That's why we are calling them labels. Labels. We have been labeled. This is your brother. This is your sister. Remember, water car, blood is thicker than water. I have seen wives neglect husbands at their time of need. I've seen sisters neglect brothers at their time of need. Yes. I have seen friends neglect friends at their time of need. Yes. So the one who sticks all through, you make family of that. Yeah.
Wow. Hey. All right. So I know. All right. So statistics show that I think so many businesses do not celebrate 5 years, their 5th birthday. Probably as a guru in that, like when you always tell us, if I was in your industry, you would be reporting to me. And I think you have an answer to this. Why do you think so many businesses do not celebrate their 5th birthday? Because I am sure we have new businesses around, and we would like to know.
Why you won't celebrate your 5th birthday? Yeah. You started celebrating too early. So you've already celebrated. Yeah. You've been celebrating all through. So the 5th birthday, you have already celebrated. Most businesses are not businesses. They are bill payment platforms. You didn't start a business, ni wewe unaifanyanga ulipe bills. So atoki kwa hivi kwa ofisi, nikwambie uko niko kwani kuna that's not a business. That's not a business, because if it was a business, it's like, you see, people should know, even if there is nobody, you are the business. Yes. Yeah. Hello? Yes. You are the business. So like for me, I don't loiter around because I don't do counseling. I spend that time trying to invest in the purity and stability of my thoughts and mind. So I don't take that time at kujua wow nani. So you will not get to your 5th if you are already celebrating. Celebrate the little milestones. You celebrate too early. Eventually, the cost of organizing a celebration is eating into your ultimate celebration. Yeah. So these are bill payment platforms. People are struggling to pay bills. Wanachapa biashara. It's not that they're in business. They would leave it today. If you told them, ndoishika 500K, wallahi bilai kesho endi job. Others, anasema muenda job, ukampesa ishika 500K, utajua even the discipline ya kuendaga job ni juu ya bills.
ikishaisha ndo atarudi.
Sasa tena ikiisha anarudi tena wa aki anani pasi ningekuwa mwise ningejua kutoka kwa hivi. But when I was done taking care of my own, I started looking for ways to. So you can't get to your fifth celebrating that way. You'll discover the busier people get, the less faithful and faith-filled they become. So the things that made them start, they stop. So when you stop what made you start, if you fueled your car to go to Kisumu, now you have gotten to Kisumu, you want to go to Busia, you cannot say, I don't now need fuel. This car is running on speed. Your speedometer, inakuonyesha tu, there is something here that is not seen. So people change on their fundamentals, what they started with, whom they started with. There are people you listened to, there are things you applied, there is energy you applied. You change it. Unapata msaki takakasa ile irika kina governor hapa, utasema unajua bish, mimi natafuta mentor, natafuta nini. Akisha achieve is fast. Sai mimi kumuita ni kumsumbua. So yana acha kupursue, mimi ndo sasa naanza kumpursue. Because anaanza kukua celebrated, how will he get to 5? You see, I have suffered enough losses to prevent people from suffering losses. But people think because I have suffered losses, I am disqualified from thinking. I have suffered enough losses to tell you, Wamboi, you start behaving like this, you will not get there. Naomi, what you're doing right now, it will cost you more. You think you're having this thing that you're starting right now is bigger than you. It will choke you. So I have suffered enough losses to know how to tell somebody what you're starting right now is moving you away from the ultimate goal. And that's some of the things we're talking about in the morning. You are delaying your arrival. You may arrive early for departure. Because mtu akifly out, wofika airport mapema. But if you keep changing pilots, ati pilot alikuwa anaenda Kuala Lumpur, sasa wewe unataka kwenda Kuala Lumpur, yet in this flight there may be other pilots, but because you took off the flight for London, situfike London kwanza. So you may want to go to Kuala Lumpur, upate the weather for landing is not fair. Ujipate sasa umepelekwa Guantanamo Bay huko sasa, and it will cost you.
Yes.
It will cost you. People lose respect and hunger for mentors as they are achieving more and more and more. So it's like some of you cannot wait to come tell me, when shall I grow sasa. Sasa mimi nasikiza Vusi. Hao ndo watu Vusi wa MCA. Hao ndo sasa ma quotes zake umekaa nazo. Mimi sasa mimi niko kwa ma vitu refined. And it can't get to 5.
Yeah.
Can't get to 5.
Yeah. Speaking of choking,
Thank you, Governor. Nyinyi wase wa nguvu.
When do you know that you should just leave that business alone? It's not happening.
When do you know when to leave that business?
Yes.
It was not a business in the first place. If it was a business, you would not be asking that question.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We've been here for 10 years while fighting. If I wake up tomorrow and niulize pasimu, how do I know if I am called? That is just a sign. You are not. That's why you are asking, and that's why I wrote, just because I do it with passion, don't mistake it that this was my passion.
Yeah.
This was not my passion. So as long as ukona bado how do I, when, as long as it feels like that, that just tells you it was not a business. It was a gig, it was a hustle. It's a lollipop. It's something you are doing while you are waiting for the things you want to do. It's a cash cow. It was making you money. So when it stops making money, it starts becoming, I want to quit it. How many times have we dug into our own pockets for this church?
Many.
I cannot even tell you. Yeah. How many times? Gabi, I can tell you that sometimes I've sent them from my own pocket for the church, for things that we cannot use. So if it gets to a place that atisasa and the same way it happens with relationships, you will struggle investing in people whom you actually feel this person does not seem to see this as an investment, but as a right. So the same way it happens with business. When the business begins to feel like it is a chore, it is now something you do because make. So if somebody else can give you the money I give you, then you'll easily switch on me. If I can get money without the business, I can tell you free of charge. Even if you gave me $1 billion, I'll still preach. And even if you gave me no shilling, I'll still preach. If I have to go be a tent maker so that I can preach, because this is me. This is it for me. If I have to move into a smaller house for me to preach, I'll still do it. If I have to sell a car for me to preach, I'll still do it. If I have to move into my mother's house, I'll still do it. If I have to go all the way to my father's rural home, I'll still do it. It's never on the table as a question. I think the thing I should stop doing is this. This has never been on the table. But if I'm in, and then same way with the relationship, if I'm giving you 10,000, Gaba is giving you 10,000. So if all you needed was 10,000, now you have 20,000. So now you have two people giving you 10. So that's why you'll always be saying, so I don't know, I am confused between the two. But before two people can give the same, if we remove the money question and the money equation, that's when you will know, do you really love this person? Or they are just facilitators of your life. So a business can just be a facilitator of your lifestyle. You're not a business person.
So having a business for like 10, 15 years and it's not booming doesn't really mean that it's time to quit.
Yeah, you never really know. Because when T.D. Jakes pastored his church for 20 years, the highest he ever got to was 270 members. Can we say success made T.D. Jakes? So if somebody told him at year 9, Jakes, his first ladies' meeting had 39 women. The woman that loosed had 39 women. And that was the highest year. He started preaching in 1974. All the way to 1996, the farthest and highest he ever grew was not more than 300 members. Now, so what we are seeing about T.D. Jakes, you'll hear him saying celebrating 45 years of ministry. But the Potter's House, you'll see it celebrating 20 years. So, okay, so what was that? He'll tell you, my first book, Woman Thou Art Loosed, my wife took a loan of $5,000 from the mother to give me to go and publish the book. Now he releases his book, Disruptive Thinking, New York Best Time. But the first book, when he was getting $5,000, was to print 1,000 books or something. Now, printers and publishers have given him a contract. So when you are quitting because it's not you. It's an avenue, but it's not you. But if it's you, when does it become enough? When does it become, is it the success that is keeping you in the business? Or the business by itself is you? Who else? Because T.D. Jakes is your hero, so we have to start with him. He took 25 years. So he asked here, should we say, tunapitia, tunafanyia, things are like this. Kristo ya Kilome, they closed that Church Christ Embassy, they moved and closed it 17 to 19 times. He didn't stop preaching. 17 to 19 times. Closing. Pale unachapa, watu wanakuletea kizungu, unaambia hii kizungu, asanteni, God bless you. Mimi nimeenda. 19 times. Now, that's what I'm saying. We are over-pampered, we are over-motivated. That's the danger with the ego. It looks hard, but it makes you soft. You are caught up in the, nataka kutobwa sahi. Hey. Do you know if most of you met me in my pre-incarnation, we would not be here. Yeah, we will not be here.
It's true.
Yeah, so that's the story. Who is this other person? Oprah was raped. She worked for about 16 to 18 years. She was fired from her job to start being Oprah. While you are afraid of being fired. It's because of ego. Oprah had to be fired for her to start being Oprah. So if it is in you, everything that is happening is trying to excavate what is in you. But if it is not in you, Gaboko free tunaweza ongea. Mniuko free tunaweza ongea. I have never had my friends have the burden of encouraging me. You need too much work. Yeah.
Is it in you?
It's a question you should be asking yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so unless anybody has a burning question. There's a hand there.
Hi. I
Hi.
would like to ask the sons of Isaac, tukisoma asubuhi, they stood out.
Yeah.
Like, how do we know? Like, there is a knowing they knew that made them stand out. Like, how do we know? Because I think the problem is we can be warriors, but we don't know the time. How did they become? Ili watajwe, like the special. What did their father do? Mwenye aliwatrain ili wajuange times and season. Like, yes, I have my pastor. There's a time Bishop told us, like, if he comes and tell me I'm going to US, nilikuwa na insight before I was told, so that I cannot be following the prophets. How now that the other question I want to ask is, now here to remember you can go 20 years because it is you. How do you know you?
How do you know it is you?
Yes, how do you get to know it is you?
I think that's a good question. The best way to know that is you must have a relationship with fathers. And that's the importance of fathers, you know, to make the worst thing that is happening to the church in Kenya is that we are killing the confidence of pastors to believe in themselves that they have a legitimate, special place in the lives of God's people. So pastors have been bullied to become tithe collectors. Everything is a threat. I will walk away. I will quit. So a pastor is trying to preserve you by making sure. So it's like they have to allow you to be you. So their legitimate place of knowing they have a special legitimate authority to help you turn the scriptural, natural things and put them in the context of time so that you can have a beautiful life. My biggest frustration has always been people try to outsmart my instruction, because the danger with an instruction, the consequence does not appear when it is being told. It's that Daedalus Icarus scenario, whereby when you are being told, unawanda sana niambia, I cannot see the consequence. So people try to outsmart the principle. Yet by me kukuambia Beth, sitaki kukusikia huku kwa makanisa ati pia wewe ni maprofet unaomba na usiku. Mnaomba nini? You may think pastor wangu hataki niombe ati prayer for a husband. Nakwambia what? Once you make your spirit husband needy, you've already made the devil to know what he can hunt and tempt you with. Ama ni aje? God makes all things beautiful in his time. So close yourself up. Be excellent. As excellent as you are. There's a lady that I know, acha niseme jina yake. She got married later in life. How do you know that somebody you're supposed to be the wife of somebody whose wife will die? So while you're trying to customize yourself for your Prince Charming, kumeni old charming nanakam. When unafaa warm the king. but ama divorcee ana watoto watatu, ama divorcee wa watoto watatu. So I try to warn women and I try to warn people, because you can easily attract, create a void. Nature abhors a vacuum. You can create a vacuum that will suck something that should not have been inside. Hello? Now, if you don't have relationships with, if you don't protect a relationship with a father who can easily walk into your life and say, stop it. Na usiende kuongea huko, mimi naonanga ni kama mimi ndo nakwaga. Mimi naonanga ni kama if you don't protect that, itabidi you have weapons, but you will spend a lot of time at war. And you'll be fighting the wrong wars. Yet the time for the right war, the one to make you a king, will come. So how do you know the time? The Bible says it is appointed for the father, and he will put you under tutors. Galatians chapter 4, Acts chapter number 1. Now, a father necessarily does not need to be your friend, but he can tell you, by the way, it is this and this and this that you need to do. Some of these men here will tell you, I'll come and tell them, we, hama kwa hii nyumba. Ya na shida na hiyo nyumba. Hama kwa hii nyumba. Mambo ni mengi. Inflation. Deposit. Hama kwa hii nyumba. Hama kwa hii nyumba. And that time, it doesn't appear, because, you see, my father does not need to, when we called my dad here, and they told him to pray for me, hakusema ninatangaza ya kwamba. He just said, Wellington, Luke, Odendo, you are blessed. That one is enough.
Yeah.
That one is enough. Kuliko ile mmeninyoroshea hizi mikono zenyu zenye zinatakaga ni fail, ndo ziprove muko right na niko wrong. I pray for your pastor, unazieka hivi, Father, ninaomba. Zimeshaka hivi, ndani yako unawashwa, umsee ni aje. Yeah, but that is enough. That's a father for you. So you have, if I went back in time, one mistake that I did, if I'm to go back in time, that is one thing I never protected. That is the one thing. And I can tell you, every person, they had an ish about them. They became that. Pastor Muniu knows, Lau knows, Reva Kwapa. Some of the people who have left my life, they did not start in my life now. We knew them when we were younger. We knew them earlier. They asked me, does this person understand the assignment of your life? Mimi nafikiria kila mtu ako kwa maisha yangu understands the assignment. This one I believe understands, that one, Josh, ule. So when somebody is asking you that, unashanga, what is he asking? The person we were being asked, Sai, au ndo anataka kudiwa, Sai. He asked me, nani, A, B, C, D. And you know he's not, let me tell you, when you sit with these fathers, Pastor Abdi will tell you, they don't, tomorrow we are having a father-son session. It's not a session. It's in moments of passing. Sometimes he would make a request. He would make a request. He is not impressed by the type of cars I drive. He thinks they are old. So he keep updating them. Keep changing them. But mimi nikiwasikia hapa hivi mtanidanganya. Msee, nini. So if I had one thing that I could correct in my life, is that one thing. I would protect that voice, because the scars mnaniona nayo sahi, I was told, huyu ni sumu. sumu gani? Hii maji safi hivi ni sumu. Because I would act with, I cannot say stupid person. At that time, I was doing programs on Citizen. I had written my first book. We were starting to be called. I think there was a time we went for missions. Baka tukaambwa saa hii hakuna mahali mnaenda. I was this way, Muni ako huku, sijui Charles ako wapi, sijui tunakutana jioni, tunaambia sasa Muni unakaa, mimi narudi Monday, mimi narudi Sunday. Because Wednesday kuna ile, I was so busy, I felt so valued, but just those voices that would come into my life and tell me, where? These people in your life, does this person? So now when I look at my life, that's the first question I ask myself. If you are struggling with my assignment, elder, pastor, nani, siezi jieka hapo tena. But do you know what? Why am I learning now at 40? Going through a separation, having to pastor a church, publicly humiliated, because in my 20s I was told, if I knew sahi ndo ningekuwa nawaambia wase nataka committee, I'm getting married. If I knew sahi ndo ningekuwa nawaambia guys nataka kuanzisha church, sahi ndo ningekuwa naanza. Less cars, less drama, I am more stable in my persona. He asked me, kina Pastor Muniwa najua, he is the first person who asked me, wewe wanga pastor. At that time, amenipeleka Bible school. I am about to graduate. He asked me, when you read the book of Timothy, visit the widows. When you read Timothy, do you struggle? Nashanga, what do you mean struggle? To understand, what do you mean struggle? He asked me. I should have known from the word go, I am not a pastor. He saw my desire should have been, because I am not a pastor, what am I? So that I don't put myself in people's lives as a pastor. Hata uanguke sai, sitakutembelea. Na si ati ninakusikupendi. My love does not come like an ambulance. No. Ukishakimbizwa pale hospitali, bindaenda nyumbani. We will solve the problem, usiwahi anguka tena. He asked me very clearly. He was like, wewe. Now, I take you to Bible school. I pay your school fees. And then I ask you, come on, a graduate. At that time, you are top students. A 3-star, a supra cum laude. Then unakuja kuniuliza, wewe wanga pastor. So unaona huyu mtu ni kama anakuseti. I wish I listened to that. So now you will see we are setting up these churches. Nasema, hapa Pastor Muniu pale, because I know this is too much for children. Hii ni kukuintroduce kwa whiskey na hujai kunywa hata maziwa. This is too much for children. But it doesn't mean I don't have a place or I don't have a calling. Wewe sasa ulikuwa unaambiwa hivyo, unakuwa offended. Akili yako ni ya njugu, inatoshana hivi. Kwani umse. I wish I listened. I would have done more. I would have helped pastors set up churches rather than try to be a pastor and get. That's why I get very easily provoked when people do stupid things. Well, Pastor Muniu anasikia, ana breathe in and out inaisha. Mimi nashanga, what? Why? How? Are you thinking? I was asked those questions. Si imekuja tu kunibite later. The church has made for me more enemies than the bar. I am hated by Christians. When I tried to be what? A pastor. Somebody anakuja rika hiyo yako ati hajakula siku 3, tunasema acha tumpeleke tukakule. The next thing, si anatuchoma sahi na petroli. I tried to be what? A pastor. Sahi nikitaka kwenda mahali nasema ago noa si tuendeni. I tried to be that na I have now learned. So if you join or come near me, the first thing I'll tell you, I am a leader. If you see me in the church and see me at home, tusiseme ati church ni church, I am a leader. Once you struggle with my leadership, you'll struggle with me forever. So sita try kusema hapo pale, no. I am a leader. 24. That's me. Me ni kiongo. I'm not a poet. I'm not a nini. I am a leader. If I knew that now, if you take me back in time, that's the one thing I would have done. So that's how I would have understood the times, by just listening and listening and listening and taking it in. Right, nini. So he told me, hakuna kitu mpya nimepitia. I'm now reaping the consequences. And so sahi, I fight for that relationship. I service that relationship. Recently he called me for a meeting. And that's the same day. He was flying in from Dubai. He called me for a meeting. We were supposed to meet at 12. I went there at 11:30. Waited until 4. Leo ni mimi. Na sikupiga mshahara ati haki ya mama I waited because when he flew in, he was flying in to rest. So when he flew in, they were told one of their colleagues has passed on. So he looked for Bishop Mark. When they are in that, mumeambiwa ati nini pastor alilala kuamka. So he sat in there. Na mpaka nikipigia gabana mwambia sasa naenda ile mkutano. Okay, sawa. 4:30 he called me. Niko Molo. Because the bishop is of Kericho. Tuko Molo tunaenda, nani alilala. Kaniambia, so I'll talk to you before I sleep. I stayed until morning. You know, you struggle with following because wewe uko bado na kitu. Unaona, watu wanakuambia you have potential. I stayed until morning. Lester pige. Na my phone is always on silent. But yake na kwanga nimeweka ringtone ile ikilia. My phone is always on silent. I'm actually moving from this platform to another platform so that niache highway. Simu yake isilie ishikane na hizi zenyu ati bibi amenuma mgongo, sijui jana nilipata amenifinya chakula ya maziwa ya mtoto kwa chakula. So that niache highway. If I meet him today, na tuambie Welly, close this church, you will not even come tomorrow and find a chain on the gate. I'll tell Akinamuni, this is what I've been told. So while you people are thinking, me nimeendaga kuobey. Me in my heart, it is closed. He has that kind of power. And it's not that he give me time, I go pray about it. Hapo. Immediate, instant, constant. And it's not like he knows. He knows like, who you? I cannot even dare. I stayed there. Nikaka hapo, kafika 3:30, 4, nikakuwa sure this is lunch time. In your lunch time. Hatukangi kwa traffic. Ikifika 3:30, chances are. So he calls me at 4. I am going to this and this place. And that is me. That is me. But guess what? By the time I am learning, I have lost everything I had in my 30s. Name, family, children, blah. Everything I had, I've lost it. So, hiyo ndio tu ndakuambia. It might appear ni kama, kwani I don't have a mind of my own. Please, don't have a mind of your own. Yeah. Don't have a mind of your... Please, kama utanisikia, nisikilie hii. On that one thing, don't have for a season. So that you have the right mind for the right settings in life. So siku hizi tunaendanga maforum, naona watu wamekuja hapo na ma-items zao. Mimi ndo nalala hivi kama gambo TV, kiatu tumelala. Na hoteli na baridi, bed sheets ni thick, baridi. That's what I will tell you. The second question was that, how do you? That whether it is, how do you know whether it is you? If it is you, you will not ask. If it is you, you will not ask. Amani, Cindy, If it is you, you will not sit somewhere and ask Atisai. You know, some people say business is low. I need to find something to do. No. You are a business person. You should always be finding something to do. It is not low business that makes you do business. It should be, I'm a business person. When I'm talking to Judy, I'm always telling her, you have to be ahead of the curve. While this is working, start this here. By the time this is not working, this is working. While this is working, start this year. By the time this is working, start this year. I have given her materials. I've told her, take this, start with her, turn that into a book. Take this. So I start organizing such a forum. Start organizing this. Use me while I'm still here to do this. So while this is working, start organizing this. But while this is working, twende tukawake uko Nairobi. So and then when this stops working, I need to find something to do. Then you're not a businessman. You're self-employed. Yeah. There was another question. Was it there? Let's take that as the last one. Where was it? It was here or there? Ama ni pale kwa kina governor. Governor. You want to cash the check? Governor na check ya 120 million ya Jamii Bora.
Nachoma mfuko.
Ni ya 420. Tiana hata moja. Sasa MC anakuandika ya 2 billion. Hata zeros hazitoshi. Tiapo kwa figures ameandika 2 times the power of 10.
Probably an equation of value, and I believe that you get paid in direct proportion to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. Now, being difficult in replacing somebody, that means you stand out. So right now, in a world of saturated professions and saturated businesses, so how do you ensure that you stand out? Because right now, people are trying to be so much professions. So how do you kick it probably a notch higher above the professional, probably baseline or plateau where most people are trying to be and actually stand out in this world and be able to make it?
Businesses are saturated, professions are saturated,
Exactly.
but there's only you. You are the unique thing.
Okay. Thank you. That's deep.
Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, there's only you. So what is the you? You are the only thing that is not saturated. If you copy what other people are doing, you are joining the mass. Yep. Yep. Ama niaje? Can I give you my finals? You're the only you. That's the only thing. That's why for me, when I started embracing, Mimi, I'm a leader, I'm not this, I'm not this. And I started being comfortable with it. I stopped getting hurt by people claiming I wasn't there for them. Because my there-ness si ati nimekuja unikohole hapo empisha. And even if I'm to live 1,000,000 years, it's not me. But there's how I can get that to you. And I have to live with that. And I accept. So because of that, I have now that is the you. If I am in your life, it will not show on the days you have broken down. It will show by how the breakthroughs you'll be making in your life. People will be looking at your life and saying, oh, mzee, oh. So if I'm in your life, no kwama, something is wrong. Because if I'm in your life, so that's my place, to give you the force for progress. And so when that force is in place and you're working not in contradiction, but you're working this way, it's nini. Doesn't mean I don't. I love leadership because leadership factors in mercy, factors in generosity, factors in helping, it factors in all those aspects. When people go to visit Doro, ni mimi nimekutembelea, because those people by themselves, they are not visitors. hata wapendi watu. But you may say, na mimi ulikuja, mbona mimi? So the unique thing is you, and the pressure for you is you may want to conform either to what your peers are doing, what the market is doing, what the world is saying, what Nini is saying. But the only unique feature in any market is you. That's the only thing that cannot be duplicated, manufactured. It's you. So if you take enough time with you, soon and very soon, you'll always be in business. That's why you're the first capital.
Yeah.
Amen? Sini kweli? Sini kweli? What? Pastor Faith, you have a question or what? Ama unatetemeka hapo leo na baridi. So, Pastor Mni, you have anything, contribution, and then can make our final remarks, and then we'll be good to go. Dodo, you have a question, a comment, a complaint? Ilikuwa smart. Rudi tena ukae chini. Why don't you give a hand to Pastor Mni as he's making his...
Amen. I believe you have learned. And as we said, you see, the questions that have been asked and the answers, as I told you, if you ask somebody out there, they would not have given you this answer. They would have just guessed and fumbled their way around life, and they would have confused you further. Because now you come, and in the church you're told, do A, then this joke out here is telling you to do B. Because they don't understand the spiritual dynamics. Everything, and especially that aspect of community, it is very important. And I have always given this example, and Bishop has always given that example. And we always say that many a times, we will not always be on top, all of us. Utapata hii season ni Bishop yuko juu, so yeye anatubeba kuna time. To this day, I have a jacket that Gaba bought for me one birthday. Nilivaa but for me I treasure that jacket because when nilikuwa tu sina kitu, so tunazurura na Gaba kasikia, leo ni birthday yako. So there was a hawker who was passing by and he was like, kaangalia kanuliza pastor, jaribu hii jacket, and I wore it and it fit me perfectly and it became my darling. I used to wear it over and over again. So you see, at that particular time I needed a jacket. But sikuwa na hiyo pesa. But sasa Mungu akaona, because at that time Gaba ndio alikuwa juu. So Gaba is the one who bought me the jacket. And the power of community, I'll tell you, this is a testimony of some sort, so that you understand this thing of building community and being in a family is very important. Beginning of this year, I said, and I told myself, I want to, just to change my wardrobe and all that. So, and even to inflation, sijui nini, and all those things. Let me tell you, nguo zilitoka mali zilitoka bisha najua. Kama ndoo, yani a whole suitcase, perfectly fitting. So, and I told Bishop, guess what? This is an answered prayer. Because for me, I was like, okay, I want to change my wardrobe a bit. And there are some things I need. Mutu tu mahali tu aliguswa. Na aka supply in plenty. Even Gaba is a witness. So that kind of family setting, I needed clothes. I needed at least to upgrade my wardrobe. So I was thinking, where will the money come from? But kumbe God, yako na plans zake. Anaambia wewe, sasa kile utafanya, this is what you're going to do. And community. So me na car, I'm okay, I'm enjoying. So somehow, that budget of my life was taken care of by being in community. And that is why we tell you it is very important. And as Bishop is saying, service relationships and build, because one day there's something you need very important. I will have it and I'll not need it. And I'll just hand it over. But sasa wewe, because you must suffer. Lazima upigwe kama Yesu. Mijeledi 39. Ndio usikie you have earned it. Uzurure. And at the end of the day, unakuja unapata. Yani, it was here and you don't even use it. Niambia take it, unashindwa. The molestation I've gone through in this city to just get this thing, not worth it. So that is something that you really have got to. And again, as Bishop has said, the ego has to. If this thing is to work, you have to put your ego aside. Kabisa, you have to put your ego aside and just allow life to flow through you. My closing remark, just to add, because that is what, and to add to answer to Beth and all of us. Recently, I was driving, and I was using, those are very good testimonies. As you heard, we used to walk to buy books.
And read them.
I remember that.
Angie is a witness. Alikuwa anakuja hizi vitabu zote. Wapi solis pale. Nyumba ilikuwa inanuka vitabu. Tukitembea tao hoka nauza vitabu, we buy the book, walk.
I remember there's a book I really wanted. So I had some money with me. So when I saw that book, it was the exact amount I had in my pocket. So I was with Rev Charles. Nikamwangalia tu nikamwambia, my brother, today we are walking and we are not eating because I am not leaving this book. Yeah, hivyo tu. So sahi tukisema I was driving, so nakaona watu wanajiri. We walked. Karo is here. There's a day we left with Karo. From where? Buruburu. To Karagita. Pia we are akona marks of the gospel. This one, she walked from Buruburu. Well, imagine Buruburu, past tukaingia Umoja, tukapita, tulikuwa tunaita Red Sea. Tukapita Red Sea, tukaingia Kayole, tukaenda mpaka Mehango, walking. So you see people like her, when we love them, is because she's been there. She knows anakaa najua where I have ever. So when we talk about walking, she's also a witness. Right now, she's also driving. So see. So now, when I was driving, back to my closing remark, and at some point I was using a road that President Uhuru, the former president, had developed. And, at some point, there was that bit of, unaka unasema, and these people, the way they really bashed this guy. Eh? But for me, the voice and what God told me is that, you see, you are using this road. If this road was not there, how much time would you have used to get to where you are going? So that word development came into my head. And this is what God told me, that mentorship and fatherhood is development. That you're supposed to go maybe to Mombasa. But now, what we will do, development, is we will come and make a road straight here. So a journey that you're supposed to use 5 hours, you use 35 minutes. So, and that thing really hit me, and I was like, well, okay. So mentorship is that it is development, that we are here, and as Bishop said in the morning, it is you getting the information, the knowledge, or the wisdom, minus the time that was acquired. So if I took 10 years to read all these books, that wisdom, I can give it to you in 5 minutes. Compressed and condensed. So now the question is, do you want to use the 5.5 hours to get to where you want to go to? Or do you want to use the 35 minutes to get to where you want to go to? God bless you.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen.